U.S. efforts to install an anti-ballistic missile system in South Korea to counter North Korea's nuclear tests and recent satellite launch are part of a much larger effort to contain both Russia and China with a ring of fire. For instance, the U.S. has been using every artifice possible to convince and cajole Eastern European states to allow the placement of an array of offensive weapons on Russia's doorstep. The U.S. has repeatedly violated the 1987 Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, known as the INF, with its policy of deploying an European anti-missile shield while cynically accusing Russia of as yet unsubstantiated violations. Based on Washington's self-serving allegations, the U.S. now plans on placing new long-range cruise missiles, unmanned drone systems, long-range bombers, as well as an upgraded nuclear gravity bomb in Eastern Europe to counter the supposed Russian threat. For the U.S., war is peace and offense is defense, and any nations that respond to U.S. threats and intimidation with defensive moves of their own are called aggressors. The brazen acts of U.S. disregard for treaty obligations was stridently voiced by Brian McKeon, a top U.S. arms control official, when he recently told U.S.-funded Radio Liberty that Russia represents a challenge to transatlantic security and, quote, accordingly, we are developing a comprehensive response to Russian military actions and are committing investments now that we will make irrespective of Russia's returning to compliance with the INF Treaty. This is seen by the Russians as an attempt by Washington to neutralize Russia's strategic nuclear deterrent and gain a decisive military superiority. The same scenario is now being played out in East and Southeast Asia. By exacerbating tensions on the Korean Peninsula, the U.S. has forced North Korea's hand and ensured that the DPRK would continue to develop its nuclear deterrence as a matter of national defense and survival. Even the launch of a satellite is seen by the U.S. as an offensive move by North Korea, while the U.S. is free to station troops and offensive military hardware throughout the world in order to impose its hegemony. Just as the Russians see the placement of U.S. missile systems in their backyard as an existential threat, so too do the Chinese view the U.S. plan to place the Thermal High Altitude Area Defense System, THAAD, on North Korea's doorstep and close to China's border as a clear and present danger. As Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Hong Lei stated, China was seriously concerned about the possible deployment of the THAAD system as it covers a range that is far beyond the needs of defense of the Korean Peninsula and would trigger an arms race in the Asian Pacific region. Hung continued that we will not allow our legitimate rights and national security interests to be damaged. At the same time, U.S. Obama administration is holding a summit conference with ASEAN nations to try and cajole them into backing U.S. meddling and interference in the South China Sea, where it hopes to further assert its hegemonic ambitions to the detriment of Chinese security concerns. Such existential threats posed by the U.S. to both Russia and China are bringing the world that much closer to a flashpoint that could have unimaginable consequences.